Spider-Man Brand New Day looks amazing. I don't even know how else to say it. This is peak Spider-Man. This is the type of Spider-Man look that feels like it was ripped straight out of the 2000s era where Spider-Man was literally everywhere. I'm talking when he was on the coloring books, the cereal boxes, the macaroni and cheese boxes, the backpacks, everything. And honestly, that gets me so excited. Watching the second trailer genuinely reignited the fire for another Spider-Man movie being so close to coming out. Because I'll be real with everyone, after No Way Home, it felt like we were in this weird era. I mean, we knew a Spider-Man movie was coming out, but we weren't quite sure what it was going to be. There were so many reports of it being after Doomsday, a multiversal movie, but now we officially know this is going to be a street level focused Spider-Man movie, so let's talk about it. After No Way Home, everyone wanted to know where Tom Holland Spider-Man would go next. That ending completely changed his life. Peter lost everything. MJ forgot him, Ned forgot him, Aunt May is gone, Happy and the Avengers don't know him, he has no friends, no family, nothing. It's just Peter Parker. That final swing at the end of No Way Home felt like the beginning of a real Spider-Man. Not an Iron Man Jr. or not an Avengers character at all, just Spider-Man. And this movie has to prove to us, the fans, that Tom Holland Spider-Man can stand on his own. And from this trailer, it honestly looks like they might pull it off. Now, the first thing I want to say is the suit looks incredible. The colors look strong, New York actually feels alive still, the action looks fun, and the movie seems bright and comic book light, but also still has serious moments. I mean, Peter looks depressed throughout the entire movie, but when he puts on that Spider-Man mask, he's back to being Spider-Man. Comedic, funny. But after he takes that mask off, he's back to being depressed. And that's honestly what I love about the character, that dual responsibility and that dual emotion that the character have. It actually feels like Spider-Man. But even though the trailer looked great, I still don't know fully what the plot is. I kind of understand the direction they might be going in, but at the same time, I still have a lot of questions. Did the trailer look good? Yes. Did it look fun? Yeah. Did it feel like Spider-Man? Absolutely. But I don't know what this movie is going to be about. Not really. And this is what makes this trailer so interesting. It gives us a lot to be excited about, but it also hides a lot from the actual story. Now, of course, we see Scorpion, Hulk, Punisher, The Hand, Sadie Sink's character. Peter's powers are going out of control. There's organic webbing. Ned and MJ are big parts of the characters. There's a lot happening here in this trailer, and the biggest question is how all of this connects. Now, the trailer starts off with Peter fighting Matt Gargan, also known as the Scorpion, who is finally returning after Spider-Man Homecoming. It's actually crazy to me that this character has been waiting almost 10 years to come back to the story, but what stands out the most here is not just that Scorpion is back, it's how Peter is fighting him. I want to point out something. Peter is not just stopping him here. He's literally beating the shit out of him. He looks angry, aggressive, and almost out of control in a way I feel like the symbiote would attach itself to this Peter Parker. This is not the same Peter who was nervously trying to impress Tony Stark in Homecoming, and this version of Peter looks like someone who has been through real pain and is starting to lose control of himself. At first, when I saw Scorpion in the first trailer, I thought he might be the main villain. The one shot had a lot of final battle energy, but after watching this trailer, I don't think that's the case. I think Scorpion is not even close to the main villain. I'm pretty sure he's just going to be one of the pawns that Spider-Man fights maybe in the beginning or middle of the movie. I think this fight is probably somewhere in the middle, and it might be the moment where the audience realizes that Peter is going too far. I mean, Spider-Man is extremely strong, we all know that, but the biggest and most important part of his character is that he holds back. He doesn't want to seriously hurt people, especially his villains. But in this trailer, it looks like he's not holding back at all. This is what makes this interesting and honestly kind of scary. Some people think he could be because of the symbiote, and that makes sense because when people see an aggressive Spider-Man, they usually think of the black suit. I mean, think of the animated shows that have come out. I mean, even Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 3, whenever Spider-Man has that black suit, that's usually when he goes the most insane. But I don't think that's exactly what they're doing here. I think they might be setting up Man-Spider. Now, I talked about this in a previous video and how if they do Man-Spider in this movie, it would be insane, but it would also make a lot of sense where Peter is emotionally, because Peter's entire life has been destroyed. Like, everyone forgot about him in the last movie, and being like the real Spider, like that could be what they lean in towards here and make him a villain into leading into Doomsday. He'll like go through that whole thing of changing into Man-Spider just like the animated show, or maybe he starts putting everything together into being Spider-Man more because being Peter Parker hurts too much. Now, the more he does that, the more the spider side of him starts taking over, I think, and that's a really strong idea because it's not just about his powers malfunctioning, it's about Peter losing his humanity because he does not think Peter Parker matters anymore. And that's tragic because Spider-Man without Peter Parker is not really Spider-Man. Peter is the heart of the character. Peter is the reason Spider-Man saves people, and Peter is the reason Spider-Man does not kill. Spider-Man and Peter Parker are not Venom and Eddie Brock. They're not two different people. It's the same person, and in this film, I think they're going to lean into that, but I also have a weird feeling that they might separate the two, where I was talking about earlier how Peter is depressed and Spider-Man seems more upbeat and stuff. I think they might actually separate it a lot more than they need to, That may be a problem, but if they pull it off, it could work really well. So if Peter starts to become more of Spider-Man and a man-spider, that could be a perfect story for him after No Way Home. And I want to say the organic webs also make this idea more interesting. Of course, people are going to think back to the Tobey Maguire movies because of the Raimi movies, but I don't think this is just a reference. I think Peter's body is actually changing. His spider DNA might be evolving in ways that he cannot control, and that's probably why Hulk being in this movie makes sense. At first, I was worried about Hulk being here because every movie, it seems like there has to be somebody. There has to be Nick Fury in Far From Home. There has to be Iron Man in Homecoming. In No Way Home, it just had to have Doctor Strange. And I have a feeling there's like a deal going on where there has to be an MCU character. I'm pretty sure there is a deal. And I like those movies, and I understand why people were tired of Spider-Man always being tied to another hero. Now, Spider-Man should be able to have his own movie without needing an Avenger to stand beside him. But the most perfect characters I would put with Spider-Man would probably be Captain America, and next to that be the Hulk. I mean, Hulk actually looks like he fits into the story. He doesn't seem like he just wants to be there to be Peter's new mentor. He feels like someone who actually understands what Peter is going through. Obviously, Bruce Banner knows what it feels like to have something inside him that he can't fully control. Obviously, being the Hulk, he knows what it's like to be scared of his own body and his own power. So if Peter is slowly turning into Man-Spider, Bruce is the perfect character to be involved. His line about how we decide which parts of nature are good or bad sounds like it could be one of the main themes in the movie. Like, is Peter's mutation good or bad? Is Hulk good or bad? Is the spider side of Peter something he should fear, or is it simply part of who he is? And that could be a really interesting idea if the movie handles it properly. I'm also really glad, by the way, that they got rid of Professor Hulk here. I mean, I don't want Professor Hulk ever again. Literally never. If they forget about him, I don't think I would mind. Honestly, after She-Hulk, Endgame was fine, okay? I'll give them Endgame. Professor Hulk worked in Endgame, okay? It wasn't the best, but it definitely worked out a little bit. So I'm gonna give them Endgame. But after Endgame, they should just put him back to Rage Hulk, and I think that's when. And I think this movie is the starting point for him going back to Rage Hulk. I want people to be scared of the Hulk again. I mean, like, come on, guys. He has to be scared of the Hulk. Now, also, the other character in this movie that's going to be really talked about is Punisher. Now, he has a way bigger role than I think a lot of people expected in this movie. Now, I thought he would low-key just show up towards maybe the end of the movie, or maybe be a mentor towards Peter, because I thought that's one of the routes they were going to take. But it looks like Spider-Man and him are working together and are kind of bantering with each other. And I like this idea that they've known each other for a couple years, because that shows that Spider-Man has been controlling New York City without the Avengers' help, or by himself, learning how to do stuff by himself. And honestly, that's really great to see. I also want to talk about something here. Now, I do think this movie, honestly, is going to relate to the character of Spider-Man so much better to the comics than any movie has done. I mean, there was just a TV spot the other day of Spider-Man going to the hospital and talking to kids there, and honestly, it just felt like Spider-Man. And then he's like throwing people into the wall, just like the comic book covers. And I want to say that again, guys, the Spider-Man in this movie is ripped straight out of the comics. They're literally mirroring comic book panels, bro. This is exactly what we wanted from a Spider-Man movie that would follow up No Way Home, which was so multiversal and something we haven't experienced before. It's just a classic Spider-Man movie, and I think this movie is going to be that. Now, in terms of the villains, I don't think that there's an actual clear villain in this movie. Now, I know Sadie Sink is the main villain, and that's what we've been like told from the trailers and stuff. But I also want to talk about the Escape podcast mentioned a theory that they have. I think it was Hat Guy. He mentioned a theory that he had where Mr. Negative is controlling everything. And honestly, I think that's one they might lean in towards. I think that Sadie Sink is actually playing Jean Grey. I don't know who else she could play, but if it is anybody else, then whatever. But I do think it is Jean Grey. I do think someone like Tombstone or even Mr. Negative is controlling her throughout this entire movie to be bad, because Jean Grey is not a bad person. I mean, in the Ultimate Comics, her and Spider-Man like had a thing going on. They were very friendly with each other. So I think that basically what's going to happen here is there's obviously a bigger villain controlling Jean Grey to do all these bad things that she's doing. Scorpion's obviously working for her. Boomerang, Tarantula, ultimate lower tier villains are working for her. Mr. Negative as well. And I think that final fight, if they do Mr. Negative, oh my god, guys, that could be the most insane thing. They could do it like in the Thor Love and Thunder scene where everything's black and white, and you could tie in the Insomniac games with that too, and have him fighting the demons and stuff. There's also heavy influence from the Insomniac games in this movie. I think this is the main movie where they've had the most influence from it. I mean, the backflips he's doing, the swinging scenes, the plane scene, everything feels like it's kind of shadowing Insomniac and The Amazing Spider-Man 2. They took the best parts of that, the best parts of The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and are making what I think could be possibly the best Spider-Man movie we've ever had. And honestly, I do still think that Jean Grey is a side villain in this movie. Mark my words, it's gonna happen. Mr. Negative was reported to be in this movie multiple times. I think he is the main villain of this movie. I think they're hiding him. I just want to say that Hulk is not the main villain at all. I just want to point that out. They're going to have like 2 fight scenes, and I do hope that Hulk is not included. I know I was talking earlier about how Hulk being in this movie makes a lot of sense. I understand it does, but I don't want to see Hulk in like the 3rd act of the movie when Spider-Man's fighting Mr. Negative or something. I didn't like that Doctor Strange randomly appeared into the No Way Home fight. I mean, I know he just came in for a bit and did his thing, but I don't like when the other superheroes show up when Spider-Man is fighting the main villain. Spider-Man, if he fights Mr. Negative, I don't want to see Hulk there. I don't want to see Punisher there. I just want to see Spider-Man fight Mr. Negative or whoever the main villain is. He doesn't need help, okay, guys? He's Spider-Man, okay? He's literally beat some of the greatest villains of all time. Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus. He fought all of them in No Way Home. Yes, there was 3 Spider-Man, but he could deal with that himself if he wanted to. So I think have Spider-Man fight with no hero in the 3rd act could be honestly amazing. Now, in terms of the end of this movie, I think that they could really tie this into Doomsday in a way. I feel like at the end of this movie, a world's going to come in an incursion to lead into Doomsday. I saw reports of that. I do think that's what they're going to do. An incursion's going to come in another world. Maybe we're going to get another Spider-Man to come in and fight this Spider-Man and be like a whole multiversal thing again, because I know Marvel loves the cash grab of the multiverse and they want to include that in every movie they do up until Doomsday. And I think that could be really entertaining because we know Spider-Man's not in Doomsday. So at the end of this movie, we could see where Spider-Man would be during the events of Avengers Doomsday when Secret War comes out, and then we want to know where Spider-Man is and if he gets the symbiote. I do think they're going to throw Spider-Man into maybe another world or something similar to the one in Into the Spider-Verse where he's fighting other spider people. They could do something cool like that, and I think that would be really loved by the fans. And honestly, guys, that's what makes Brand New Day so exciting to me. It's not just the suit, the action, or the fact that it looks more comic book accurate. It's the idea that this could finally be the movie where Peter Parker is Spider-Man. At the end of No Way Home, he felt like Spider-Man. But here, this is a full movie for him. The most interesting part in the movie does not need to be the biggest villain. The real threat might not even be Scorpion or Punisher or Jean Grey or anybody. The main part of this movie is after everything that happened in No Way Home, would it make sense for him to... The real question is, after the events of No Way Home, does it make sense for him to throw himself into being Spider-Man so much that he forgets Peter Parker? Because Spider-Man is not just great because he swings through the city and beats up bad guys, he's great because he keeps choosing to do the right thing, even when it costs him everything. He gets hurt, he loses people, he makes mistakes, but he still gets back up, and that is the version of Tom Holland Spider-Man I want this movie to fully become. So even though I still do not know exactly where the plot is going, I kind of like that idea. The mystery makes it more exciting to me. All I know is the feeling is there. The color's there, the loneliness is there, the comedy is there, Spider-Man is there, guys. And I think this will be the best Spider-Man movie we will ever get for the next couple of years, honestly. So, thank you for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.